You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma Podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. A huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. It gives me great pleasure, and this episode is probably going to make you really hungry and want chocolate, but it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my guest today, Tabitha Carr of Good Girl Chocolate.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here. And since you mentioned it, I haven't had my chocolate fix for the day. So as soon as I leave here, I'm going to the chocolate factory to eat some
Every day. My dad was just in town, and I'm from the UK originally, and every single time he comes and visits, or my parents come visit, or family members or whoever, they have a chocolate order from me to bring chocolate over. And so I have had multiple chocolate fixes this last few days because my wife rations it out. Oh. I'm like, if it's in the fridge, it's looking at me, it's got to be eaten, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then I'll wait till it, my wife kind of like, she's like, oh, I'll just, how many weeks till we go home? How many weeks till you get another delivery or shipment or whatever from back home? And then she'll plan it out. I can't do that. It's chocolate, it's supposed to be eaten.
That's right. Especially if it's clean chocolate, like Good Girl.
Yeah. Well, this is like Cadbury's Dairy Milk, like UK proper milk chocolate, not the Hershey stuff that we have here.
I'm going to have to get you converted over to Good Girl Chocolate. We're going to work on that.
Okay, so let's start there. So for people who don't know, what is the elevator pitch on Good Girl Chocolate? When someone asks you what is Good Girl Chocolate and who is it and what do you do?
Good Girl Chocolate is a plant-based chocolate that supports all healthy lifestyles. Mm-hmm. We help women with a sweet tooth satisfy their craving with an all-pleasure, no-guilt chocolate experience. And what's really unique about my chocolate is it supports all healthy lifestyles. Okay. So it is free of dairy. It's free of gluten and soy and GMOs. It is preservative free. Yeah. It's just this fantastic tasting, clean chocolate that is rich, delicious, and indulgent. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Now that I'm saying this is a funny story. When my dad first tasted my chocolate, you know what he said? This tastes like the real thing. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Mine is the real thing. Mine is the chocolate that's bean to bar, that's made from scratch. Mm-hmm. It's the real thing. But yeah, that's what he said.
How does he feel now?
Oh, he can't get enough of it.
Right, yeah. I knew you'd succeed. I believed in you the whole time. It's great.
Oh yeah. My number one supporters, my parents, they are always spreading the love of Good Girl Chocolate wherever they are.
So growing up then, were you just into being like baking, chef, chocolate from the get-go, or is this something that happens later?
Not really. My grandmother, I'm originally from Georgia. Okay. I'm Oklahoma. I'm Georgia born, Oklahoma raised. So my roots are in Georgia. My grandmother, my mother, great grandmother, aunts, all of them can throw down in the kitchen. I just picked up a few things along the way. I'm pretty good too. But for me, it was all about, I was an overweight child. At 16 years old, I was well over 200 pounds. I was on my first blood pressure pill at the age of 16, and by the time I was 30, I was on 3. So my whole life has been trying to lose weight and not being successful at it. Good Girl Chocolate came from when I was on a raw diet, trying to lose weight, okay? And after eating these raw meals, I wanted something sweet to eat. So I started making chocolate on my stovetop with good, clean, raw ingredients. I would melt the cocoa butter or cacao, you know, whatever, however you pronounce it, down to 112 degrees because, you know, anything over 115 degrees is considered cooked.
Okay.
So I would get the raw cocoa butter, melt it down, get the raw cacao powder, you know, things like agave and organic virgin coconut oil and just nuts and just mix up my own chocolate and make my own truffles. And this was like 15 years ago, a long time ago. So I've been indulging in this chocolate, me and my family, for a long time before I even brought it to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because of kind of just family throwing it down in the kitchen and then you know, wanting to lose weight and being on a raw diet and then finding like, hey, this works and you've been doing it forever, fill in that 15-year gap then. Like what happened, like until, you know, because obviously you launched in 2018, right? That's kind of the year. So like where do you go from there? What happens? Are you working 9 to 5 and then you think one day, you know what, I'm going to give it a go? Like, how do we get to here?
It was a whole bunch of failure.
Which is every entrepreneur's story.
When it comes to losing weight.
Yeah.
I tried everything. Here's the thing. I was on every single diet known to man. I remember being on diet pills. I would go to, I won't even mention the natural health store that I would go to in Enid, Oklahoma. I would go and grab these diet pills, you know, try this out, and nothing really stuck. Nothing seemed to work. You know, I would lose the initial 5-10 pounds like everyone does when they first start a diet or a fast or New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, I was double the amount that I had lost. So it was just this repeat cycle of trying to lose weight. I remember before my 30th birthday, I started having panic attacks. And this was when I was on 3 blood pressure pills. I was diagnosed then as a pre-diabetic. And then around a few years later, I had just some hormone problems that threatened my ability to have children. And my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, first cousins, they all had hysterectomies by the time they were 40. Wow. And they had children. So, you know, when the doctor advised them, hey, you know, this is what this is what you should do. This is what I recommend. They listened to the doctor, and that's what they did. And when I started having these hormone problems, I'm like, no, I am not getting my organs yanked out of my body. Plus, I didn't have kids, and I just wasn't. I wasn't ready for that. And that was really my big wake up call, because that year, once I did not take the advice of my doctor, I really changed my relationship with food. I turned to natural supplements to stop the cycle, the ongoing cycle that I was having, menstrual cycle. And within a month, things started to clear up. I switched to a more plant-based lifestyle, and it took a year. But over the span of a year, I ended up losing 80 pounds. Wow. Going from almost 300 pounds. I was able to get off of all of my prescription medication for the first time since I was 16. You know, and I remember being put on this blood pressure pill at 16 years old and asking the doctor, why are you putting me on this blood pressure pill?
Right.
She said, so you don't have a stroke by the time you're 30. No diet change. No, why is a 16-year-old, why do they have high blood pressure? What's going on there? It was just a pill. By the time I was 30, I was on 3. So then I went back to school, and by this time I'd graduated from my alma mater, Oklahoma City University, with my master's in health administration. And I tell you, I felt like a hypocrite going into the health field, where I didn't even go into the health field. I went into the tech field. And then after losing the weight, I decided to study naturopathy, because I knew that there were women, especially women in my community, that needed to hear my story and needed to know, hey, just because you're diagnosed as a pre-diabetic, you're on all these blood pressure pills and you have all these things going on with your body, doesn't mean that you can't heal your body. So I felt like it was very important for me to get educated and take this to my community. And I was making chocolate all during this time because the raw diet failed, okay? The chocolate didn't fail, but the raw diet that I was on trying to lose weight, that was a flop. I lasted for 2 months, and I was very good at cooking raw meals. But I remember going to Georgia for Thanksgiving. I couldn't eat raw in Georgia. I mean, come on. No. So I started eating whatever they cooked. I was sick the entire time. Everything was coming out of the root, from the rooter to the tutor. I mean, seriously, that's probably TMI.
Because you hadn't had that food for 2 months.
Exactly. My body rejected it.
Yeah.
Totally rejected it.
Isn't that amazing what you notice and you only notice how bad you feel when you've gone on a severe diet, or you've gone on a diet, or you've eaten clean, or whatever you want to call it, for an extended period of time, and then you have like a double cheeseburger, or you have something that you used to eat, and you realize how bad it makes you feel. Like it doesn't work the other way, right? You don't eat a salad and you're like, wow, I feel amazing. Exactly. It only works the other way when you go back, and you're just like, what if I, this is how it feels to feel full and terrible and, awful inside.
Yeah. Because you're giving your body what it needs, and you're feeding your body, and then all of a sudden you give it trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, no.
So over over the years then, since you were 16, there has been this motivation to lose weight.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And of every single failure that you've had, there's always been this motivation, or this shining light at the end of the tunnel. What is that? What keeps you going? Because sadly, a lot of people just give up. And they're like, this is my destiny. This is already predetermined. My family's been this way. This is me. And they give up. Right?
It's about feeling better. Okay. I mean, you just mentioned it. We have one life to live, and I want to live that life feeling good, looking good, full of energy. I always say, hey, I don't know how old you are, but I'm still 25.
Mentally, always.
Yeah. Right. So I just, what drives me is just wanting to be healthy, wanting to live. I had a first cousin, very close to him. He died in his 40s, in his early 40s, had a stroke. I've had a grandfather at the age of 70 pass away, massive heart attack. My grandmother, both maternal and paternal, both diabetics, both on dialysis before they transitioned. And I said, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure my path is different. Now, of course, I don't know what the future holds, but I sure am going to work hard at staying healthy, being healthy, and living life to the fullest.
Yeah, you're controlling what you can control.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's tough to do, right? It's so hard for us to say no to the ice cream, the sugar, the carb, whatever, because it all tastes amazing. I'm not saying I
say no all the time.
Right, no, of course not. But it tastes amazing, right? Moderation is key
right.
in everything in life.
Exactly.
But, you know, I love the fact that it's something that you have worked on continuously, and it becomes part of your identity that, like, yeah, this is me. I know it's not going well right now, and it might not look like it's going well, but I've been working on this, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know, every step, one step at a time, you know, get to the theoretical top of the mountain type of, you know, situation.
I take it day by day. And something that I realized the year I lost those 80 pounds is I had a talk with myself. It's like, something is not right. You want to do this. You've been trying to do this for years. There are people out there that can eat 10 cheeseburgers a day and they don't gain weight.
Yeah, I hate those people.
Exactly. And then here's me struggling, sometimes barely eating, but we know that can slow your metabolism down. It's like, what is going on? And at the beginning of each year, that New Year's resolution, I would find myself in the gym. I would find myself eating less, having headaches, out of energy, things just out of whack. And then by the time March comes, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. So I remember starting that year, and I said, I'm going to do something different. I'm not even going to exercise. I'm going to focus on what is going into my body only. I'm only going to focus on the food, and I'll come back to the exercise. That month, I lost 8 pounds. No exercise, just focusing on the food that I was eating and really tracking it. And I could just see, you know, the cravings come down, the inflammation come down, you know, all of this. And I'm like, here I am every year killing myself in the gym, tired as I'll get out, no energy because my body's not used to it. And I'm changing my diet, eating less. So, of course, I'm not feeding, you know, those extra calories that you're burning is not balancing. So, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep this up. And I started back, of course, incorporating exercise. I mean, you and I just had a conversation about the row machine. So it's about balance, you know. You got to get that exercise in for cardiovascular health, and that is what I really owe that blood pressure coming down, is the exercise, and also burning up that extra sugar, burning up that extra glucose, you know, getting out of that red zone of, you know, becoming a diabetic. So it's been a journey, and it's still a journey. Every single day I have to work at it, but I live by the 80-20 rule, and I do eat Good Girl chocolate every single day.
Well, it's also product development too, right? It's part of your job.
Oh yeah.
What do you have any kind of like big goals right now, or just what are you working towards? I mean, obviously you continue to work on this, but as far as like you, fitness, personal health, like do you have any big kind of, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to cycle this or whatever. Like, do you have anything like that keeps you going?
I tell you, I've never said I'm going to run a marathon.
Okay.
None of that. I genuinely want to be healthy. I want to keep maintaining. I still have about 10 pounds I want to lose. You know, I gained a few during COVID. Still there.
You and everybody else, including myself.
It's still there.
Yeah.
But I would like to do that. But as far as health and fitness, you know, I'm getting older, and I want to age gracefully, healthy, and just still be that full of energy, because I'm always full of energy, productive person. And I recognize that it's all about still the food that I'm eating, the activity that I'm doing. I'm not trying to do marathons and CrossFit and those type of things. You know, it's like, hey, just give me my weights, my treadmill, my elliptical. Give me the right food, I'm good.
Yeah, go walk
I'm
the dog.
good. Just good health. We just walking max.
Yeah.
Just good health. Just praying for good health for me and my family.
Awesome. So that's kind of sets a little context into like kind of a backstory, and for people listening, we can now talk about, you know, Good Girl Chocolate and where that starts. You mentioned going back to OCU. What year did you go back to OCU?
I attended OCU. Now, see, now you're going to tell me. You're trying to get my age here.
No. Not at all. I'm just trying to figure out like where are we between like 2018 and what we've been talking about? Because 2018 obviously is the start of everything.
Oh yeah.
So
2018 is the start of Good Girl Chocolate. It was actually 2017 is when I quit the 9 to 5.
Okay.
That's when I said, okay, I'm done. I had just finished my degree. I'm a naturopathic doctor specializing in women's hormonal health.
Okay.
And
so I should be calling you doctor now, not, you know, you should have said that at the start.
You can call me Good Girl. I know, I go by all kind of names. I go by Good Girl, Dr. T.
Dr. T. Let's do that. Yeah.
So I decided to quit the job in 2017. I just graduated, and then I just really started working on Good Girl Chocolate. I presented it to QVC. I know we're going to come back to that. But in 2018 is when we made our very first sale in the mall, Penn Square Mall. And we were there for 2 months.
Actually in a store or in a car?
We were in a kiosk.
Yeah.
So
you and the nail people and everything.
Exactly. Right there, a kiosk.
Yeah.
And I had a mini fridge sitting on top of the shelf with chocolate in it for 2 months. And let me tell you, the people who walked by loved it. They stopped, they tried it. You know, we tell them, hey, we're Oklahoma owned, you know, try the chocolate. They absolutely loved it. But the people who were making the chocolate, the co-packers, they stopped making it.
Oh, nice.
So we were only there for 2 months. And they stopped making it because they wanted to focus on their own brand, building their own chocolate company. And I can understand that. But that left me without someone making my chocolate. And fast forward to 2019, someone at the Grammys, or who was in charge of the Grammys gifting suite and what all the performers and presenters got, tasted my chocolate, absolutely loved it, and was like, you want to come to LA and be in the Grammys and meet everyone and hand out your delicious chocolate? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I was like, how is all this chocolate gonna get made?
Right.
And that's when I bought my very first tabletop grinder.
Okay.
Making the chocolate from scratch. Again, roasting and grinding cocoa beans, okay? This is a 3-day process. It takes 3 days for us to make this chocolate. Most people buy it and then mold it, temper it, form the truffles.
How many, like you say 3 days, how many do you make in, like how many batches do you make in that 3 days?
Well, I tell you what, we just got a brand new grinder that I named after my grandmother. Her name is Coralie, and she makes 200 pounds of chocolate at one time.
Brilliant.
Before Coralie, we could only make 70 pounds of chocolate at one time.
Awesome.
So we've
leveled up.
Yeah, exactly. We've leveled up. You took the words right out of my mouth.
It's needed.
Just in time.
Yeah, needed, right?
Just in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did someone? How do you like? Do you call them? You know, when they call you and you're like, how do you even find me? Like, how does that happen? Someone at the Grammys that tastes your chocolate.
Okay, so I have a very close friend who is an actress. Her name is Kim Coles. I love her to death. And we were talking one day, and she said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to someone." I said, "Okay." She didn't even tell me about the Grammys. She told me nothing about that. We were talking for a different reason. We were talking about QVC actually. And he said, "You know what? Let me just try your chocolate." It's like, "Okay." So I sent him my chocolate, and as soon as he took a bite, he called me and he said, "I love your chocolate. I love your energy. Come to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is exactly how it happened. I mean, seriously, it's about the relationships you form, who you know. We were in a casual conversation. She said, hey, I want you to meet someone. Had no idea who he was. No idea. And boom, we've been in the Grammys Gift Bag twice.
Since then.
Yeah.
It's amazing that like we're sat here 5 years later and so much has happened in that 5 years, right?
I know. So much
stuff
has happened, including COVID. And I know we're done talking about that. I know it's old news, but I'm just saying.
Right.
It was within the 5 years.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed our path a little bit. So, yeah.
So why did you decide to leave your 9 to 5 and start a chocolate company? Well, what was the final straw that you think, I'm a doctor, I'm probably earning decent money, but I'm done doing this. This has been biting and chewing at me and gnawing at me, and I have to do it because I'm going to regret it if I don't. Like, what is that final straw and why did you decide to do it?
I tell you, what happened is right before I quit, because I had graduated, it had been about 6 months. And of course, I always tell people, make sure you are setting yourself up for success before you take that leap, before you do it. So I gave myself a few months. And right before I left, I knew that QVC was coming to the Texas Women's Conference, a conference that I attended for the past 3 or 4 years. And I submitted an application to pitch to them. Now, keep in mind, I had never sold Good Girl chocolate. No one knew about Good Girl chocolate. There wasn't a website. GoodGirlChocolate.com did not exist. Nothing existed but the chocolate that I just made on my stovetop. That's it. That I was indulging myself. Yeah. Submitted the app, submitted the idea, and this was back in 2017. So keep in mind, I was ahead of my time. This was before vegan and, really became well known. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I was on my raw diet, I had never heard of the term vegan. I mean, I was just eating whole foods, just raw. But I submitted. There were hundreds of applicants. They chose 30 people to pitch to them. I was one of them. So I was like, okay. I called my mom. Mom, guess what? Because her and I, we used to watch QVC all the time when I was growing up. Guess what? I'm going to go pitch to QVC. And this is funny because I've never, ever told anyone this story that I'm about to tell you. I was like, I got to make some chocolate to take to QVC. And I remember my mom came because she was just so excited. And we had a flight out. And the chocolate was not coming out right. Like, for the first time, I was like, what's going on with my chocolate? To make a long story short, we did not get on the plane. Yeah. I needed more time because that chocolate was going to be perfect. Tempered perfect. Everything was going to be perfect. We drove to Austin. Missed the flight because I needed a few more hours to get it together. Missed the flight, drove to Austin, presented to QVC. I listened to all the feedback, for everyone else. Questions like, well, we have this. What makes your product different? This, that, and the other. They didn't ask any of those questions to me. They loved the chocolate. The food buyer said, this is the best tasting, like all plant-based, dairy-free chocolate I have ever tasted in my life. When the food buyer tells you that, when they don't ask you, hey, what makes your product different from this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, that was confirmation for me. That was confirmation for me. But you know what? They did not pick me at that time to move forward to be on QVC.
Okay.
And the reason why, no, it's a great reason. And they told me right there in front of everybody that was watching, because it was like, like TV. They're going to give you your feedback and everybody's going to listen to it. They said, we want to make sure you're successful. You've never sold this chocolate. You don't have a customer base. You don't even have a website. They said if we were to purchase 5,000 units from you and you come on QVC, you only sell 2,000. That means who are you going to sell the other 3,000 to? That all that money that you've sunk into it, to get it ready to come. She said you would go under. And we've seen too many great companies fail. And you're not going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such good advice.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure at the time you're like, oh, this is great, but I want to do this now. Mm-hmm. But it's like, hey, you've got something here. Now go build it and we'll be here when you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 months later, I went back. They made me an offer.
Yeah.
I had a website. I was in Penn Square Mall selling the chocolate, but I didn't go. Why? Number one, I didn't have anyone making the chocolate anymore. The company quit. I didn't have the capital that I needed to get there. It takes money.
Yeah.
It takes money to go. You just can't show up.
Yeah. Did you have people wanting to buy part of the business and give you money?
That came in 2019. Okay. I went through my first accelerator.
Sure.
I never heard of an accelerator. And in 2018, I didn't know the terminology when it came to venture capitalists and angel investors and everything, all the resources that are out there for businesses. In 2019, I went through the Oklahoma City Thunder Accelerator. And learn,
Erica and Chris.
Yes, the Lucases. Yes, I love them. I love them dearly. But yes, to answer your question, and in 2020, I was ready to open up my first location in Penn Square Mall, and that's when COVID hit, and the mall shut down.
And you signed a 12-month lease.
And no.
You didn't sign a lease?
I did not sign the lease. Okay. I did not sign the lease. So I was very fortunate because not only did I not sign the lease, I hadn't hired the employees either. Wow, so that meant I didn't have to go through any layoffs. It's like God was watching out for me, and I just had to ride it out.
So this was like early March, April 2020?
Yes, this was March 2020, getting ready to sign a lease. Didn't do it. I didn't end up signing the lease until January of 2021. And then we moved into our spot in Penn Square Mall July 2021. And now we've moved out. We moved out, and now we've gone from 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet location. Yeah.
So during this time that you're going through building a website, doing the whole QVC thing, this period from 2018, 2019, 2020, are you making sales online once you get the website up? Like because obviously you've quit your job at this point.
Yes.
You're selling chocolate. You just haven't gone full scale, like next level at this point.
Exactly.
You're still making an income and you're supporting yourself.
Exactly.
Got you.
Exactly. Okay. And again, my piece of advice, set yourself up for success when you're leaving that 9 to 5. I had money.
Or bills paid for 6 months or a year that that.
I was not, that's the worst thing you can do is leave and not have a cushion, not have something to fall back on, because never could we have imagined COVID.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Never. And I'm just grateful that I didn't sign the lease, and I was in a position to wait a little longer. And that's what I did.
So January 2021 comes around, you sign a lease, and you're like, now we're after it. Now I can actually start building what I want to build, and I can fulfill my vision.
Absolutely.
You started hiring employees, but then you've got a store, right? It's not, you have a storefront, so it's not just are you cooking at that location as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We did it all
Gotcha.
right there. We built out the back of the store. We had to put in a drop ceiling per the health department and electrical work and everything. But it was so much fun. Customers would walk by and they would smell the chocolate. I absolutely loved it. Retail is hard. Being in the mall, we had to staff those hours 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
It was tough. It was tough at times. I'm glad I experienced it. It's great, but doors have opened up for me to expand nationwide. And production is now our focus. It is not retail. It is going nationwide, wholesale production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that like your plan all along?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
to scale it to that.
I created this chocolate for women like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's created by a woman for women. And I think it's very important that the world knows about this chocolate and how good it is. So I'm so grateful that the path that we're on.
Yeah. Only the beginning, right? You've only been 5 years is nothing.
It's only the beginning. And since 2021, since we actually really started making it ourselves and making bean to bar large batches. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, because you can control the production and you have a handle on it and you have no worries about a company quitting on you like has happened before, it makes him obviously much easier to go after Whole Foods and buyers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How, what was that process like of, obviously you're in Whole Foods and you've been, like you said, the Grammys a couple of times and did some stuff with Beyonce's foundation too, right? Which I'm sure was amazing. Like all of these things, like they seem to have snowballed. Tell me a little bit about those. Like what are kind of the standout moments for you so far, or just fun stories that you have over the past, since 2021, I guess?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll go back to 2020 because 2020 was the Beyonce grant.
Okay.
Now that's a story because that was a complete surprise. I saw it on Instagram. I saw where small businesses, she was giving away grants, and I remember it was 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, man, I'm tired. But this application is due at midnight. It's like, let me sit down and do it. And I'm filling it out. And then at the very end, it says, submit a 1-minute video talking about yourself. No. It's like, okay, I'll go put on some makeup, so I can look, decent. And let me tell you, I did it. It was like one take. And I was like, that's perfect. And sent it. And a few weeks later, I was on Instagram and I saw this post, congratulating the grant winners. And they were saying how many people, thousands of people applied, but they were only able to give away a certain amount. And they had this, post with little pictures of all the businesses that were selected. My chocolate was up there. That's how I found out. I saw a post and my chocolate was right there on the picture. And then I got an email.
Straight to email.
Yeah, then I got an email later on. I was like, I cannot believe this. That was so exciting because that was the very first time she had done that. She created this small business grant foundation. So like I was in the first group. So excited. And I would call my mom. I was like, hey mom. It's like, what? Guess what? It's like, what? I got a Beyonce grant. A week later. Hey mom. What? Guess what? I got a grant from Beyonce. And I did this for a couple months. But it was just such exciting times.
Oh, yeah.
And then 2021, of course, we're opening up the chocolate factory. And a few years ago, I introduced myself to Whole Foods. So the people here in Oklahoma City, they kind of knew who I was, you know, a few of them. And they would always say, hey, you know, reach out to corporate. This is what you do. This is how you submit to be in Whole Foods. But of course, I wasn't ready. And 6 months after we opened up, because we opened up July 2021. So the next year, around January, February, Whole Foods, they started advertising for their pitch competition. I did not see this advertisement. Someone in the Made in Oklahoma program sent an email out to like everyone in the program to apply. And I applied, I pitched, I went through 3 rounds, and I won it. I won this pitch competition, and I was competing against everyone in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Yeah. It was for the Southwest region. And I won. I won this pitch competition for Whole Foods. And when they called me to give me the news, I mean, I was in tears. I was literally in tears, because this has just been a dream of mine to be, because, you know, Whole Foods, they're all about nourishing people, nourishing the planet. They are the industry leaders when it comes to natural foods and health and wellness. And when I found out I won that pitch competition, and they were going to put me through a 12-week accelerator to make sure I'm successful, you know, as I'm launching, because that can be intimidating. People have no idea the behind the scenes of wholesale.
Chaos.
Oh my goodness, it is a beast. Yes, it is. And the fact that I got to go through that program and meet from the CEO to the CFO to all the executives, like, they know who I am. They know who Good Girl is. That is, it's a blessing. It's a dream come true, and it's a blessing. Yeah. So I went through the program 2022, and this year we launched. We launched in our region. We started with 25 stores in July. Now we're up to 35, and we will complete the region over the next 30, 60 days. We will be in every single Whole Foods market in our region, which includes Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Yeah. And then there's QVC.
And then there's QVC, yeah.
The same year.
Yeah.
We premiered on QVC. Yeah. Right?
You've been busy.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yes. From moving to Whole Foods to QVC to the Grammys this year.
Yeah.
So this was the second time we did the Grammys back in February, where we launched our candied walnut brownie bar. Yeah. We've been busy.
Do you know, when people order online at the website and you see some of the names and you see some of the addresses, you're like, hang on a second. Am I sending this to that person? Has there been those moments too?
Yes.
That you can talk about, I guess. Some I'm sure you don't want to, but
yes.
others you're like, I'm sending chocolate to this person. I've watched this person on TV or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of that Grammys exposure.
Absolutely. I'll definitely keep names out of it. But yes, I've been like, oh.
Pinch me moments.
Oh my God. Yes. Absolutely. And then I send them a little note. Thank you.
Yeah. What does Mom think about all this stuff?
My mom is so excited. Yeah. You know, she's retired now. She wants to come and work at the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
They're in Enid. my mom and dad, and they are so excited. They've been with me every step of the way. They were there. They flew to Philly with me when I premiered on QVC. Oh, Whole Foods. So the CEO wanted someone from their very first accelerator to come and speak at their annual meeting in June, and they picked me.
Okay.
So I was able to fly out in June and meet everyone. And of course, my parents, they flew out with me too.
Yeah.
So they're just enjoying the ride.
That's so awesome. And it's good to like we just said earlier, like it's still the beginning, right? So all of these things are just little moments and little levels and little step ups that, it's like QVC and it's Beyonce and it's the Grammys again. And, all these things, it's snowballing. But at the same time, like you have the foundation that controls, the next time the next level comes up and you get to the 35 stores and then you go to 50 or whatever it is, like, you're in a great position that you have built a super foundation for that.
Let me tell you the reality, okay? The first 25 stores, Whole Foods, and I'm just talking Whole Foods right now, we need to be able to produce 5,000 bars a month, which we can. The next 25 stores, being in 50 stores, we need to be able to produce 10,000 bars a month, which now we can, now that Cora Lee has come aboard, my new grinder. But once we get to 500 stores, and we will get there, and I've already been told by the CFO of Whole Foods, don't let it take you too long.
Yeah.
That is what he told me. I was like, don't let it take you too long. I was like, okay. 500 stores is like 70,000 bars a month.
Can you do that at the location you're at now?
No.
Okay. So that's what's holding you back. A little bit. One of the things that's holding you back.
Money.
Yes.
Well,
let's
exactly.
Get down,
We'll need more people.
Yeah, and cash.
We'll need more equipment, and we'll need a bigger space. Okay. We will need it all.
Are you the type of person that does a lot of visualization, forecasting, planning? Like you already have this space picked out. It's already planned. Just whenever we're ready. We're going to pull it. Are you that type of planner?
It's funny that you say that because I pulled in the people to help plan it. Right. And because I can't do this by myself, right? And I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. Yeah. I've pulled in the real estate experts. I've pulled in the finance experts. Everyone that I need to help this vision come to fruition. We're in those early stages of talking.
Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. You got to plan ahead though, because you got to be ready.
You have to.
Because when you say your CEO is going to be like, "Don't take you too long," like they're waiting on you, right?
Yeah, is it?
You got a green light from them.
Long.
They already proven the concept that it's working in 25, 35 stores, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right here in Oklahoma.
Right here in Oklahoma, and something that I haven't told anyone.
Exclusive.
I know this is exclusive. You're getting so much exclusive stuff. QVC has invited me back.
When does that?
When I say so.
I am your captain now.
No. But seriously.
Yeah.
It's one of those relationships to where they say, okay, you've done the 5-piece truffles. What else do you have?
Yeah.
What can you bring? So it's just me trying to think, okay, what do I want to bring to QVC? What do I want to present? Do I want to present something different and new? So when I say so, that just means that I'm thinking, what are we going to present? Because when I present it, it's going to be good.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
It has to be. Come on, yes, it has to be. So once I figure that out, then we'll be back. Not this year. It'll be next year.
How, for people listening that don't know the QVC model, how does that work? Like when they come to you and say, whatever you got, like, you're obviously proven to them that you can make this work. Like how does the process of that work? If someone's listening that maybe they get to that stage in the future when they start their business.
Oh gosh, QVC is all about quality, value, convenience. That is exactly what QVC stands for. They are global. They're huge. It's not easy to get on QVC, just like it's not easy to get into Whole Foods. The experience, I can't even explain the feeling that I had being able to premiere on QVC. But what you're doing is you have 7 minutes. That's all I had. I had 7 minutes to get on air, and me being new, a new brand launching, they didn't know who I was.
Right.
So I was premiering brand new. And it's all about capturing that audience, talking about, and this was very different. This was very different than you and I talking, than anything that I did in the retail store, even at the Grammys, being able to, I had to hold the chocolates, in my hand and smush them and cut them and really describe, the deliciousness of the chocolate so people can buy. It was very different, but I think I was pretty good at it. Obviously, they said come back.
That's tough to do though in 7 minutes, right?
Yes,
Real
it is
tough.
hard to do in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And like you and I talking, you can't sit there and tell your story.
Yeah.
It's not about your story.
Yeah.
It's about how does this chocolate taste?
Yeah. And trying to convince them on the other side of the screen to buy it right now, because you gotta like harness the craving inside them.
Yeah.
They need chocolate now. They don't need it in 20 minutes. They need it now.
They need it now. And this was Christmas in July. So I was in a segment full of delicious food, everything shipping out in November, December. So the orders that were placed, they don't ship out until November, December. So just really taking those 7 minutes and giving it all you got. But everything that I've done prepared me for that moment. I'm not camera shy.
Yeah.
Being on a talk show back in 2018, I had that training. So everything I've done really prepared me. Even the retail store, talking to people every day at Penn Square Mall, all of these things prepared me for those 7 minutes. 7 minutes of performing, basically.
It's got to be perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly. So fun. Such a learning experience.
Whenever you decide you're going to go back, and then you have another 7 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
I will have another 7 minutes.
Do you have an idea of what product you want to do this time?
I don't.
No. What products have you done in the past too?
I did my truffles.
Okay.
I did my 5-piece truffles. Well, everyone who ordered, they're receiving 3 5-piece boxes.
Okay.
And we pitched them as break aparts.
Sure.
So you get 3 5-piece boxes. You keep one.
Yeah.
Give 2, to friends, because it's Christmas in July. So you can give them away for Christmas gifts. Now, of course, I know that once you taste Good Girl chocolate, you're not giving them away. Okay, you just need to order some more. Okay, keep those for yourself, and then give them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing I noticed too from just looking at the website is that you take a lot of pride in your packaging. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. This is not just a chocolate bar in a wrapper. This is like high-end presentation, high-end gifting chocolate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's strategic.
Yes, because I always say chocolate is a girl's best friend. It's not diamonds. And I created this chocolate for women, for ladies to indulge. I mean, it's about all pleasure, no guilt. Mm-hmm. It's about having something nice to indulge in after your dinner, even though you can eat it after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But we like nice things, It's all organic, You're having this chocolate experience, eating this good balanced, so good that you could eat it for breakfast, by the way. I mean, it has fiber, it has magnesium, it has good fats, it has nuts, it has the coconut sugar instead of the processed table sugar, no dairy, no gluten, no soy, none of that. So
Guilt-free.
It's fitting.
Yeah.
The packaging is fitting for the luxury, the experience that you're going through eating Good Girl chocolate.
Every day.
Every day. Every single day.
People listening are now
and we
salivating.
eat with our eyes.
We do.
We eat with our eyes.
Yeah.
And besides, if I'm going to be in Whole Foods on QVC, well, I couldn't put it in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your chocolate.
Right. Yeah. Well, I get the sense that it also fits you very well too. Right?
I think it does.
You're energetic. You're very good at what you do. Your bubbly personality, the color scheme and being pink and the photos of you on the website, like it's the whole brand, right?
Yeah.
And it all fits together, and obviously it's strategic as well, but it's the brand and an image and that you have and that you're harnessed around, and this is you going forward.
Very classy, very sassy, very fun.
Unapologetic, I would say.
Yeah, unapologetic, yes.
Yeah.
And gourmet.
Gourmet, love it. Moving forward then, what's coming up? What do we have other than the QVC announcement? What are you working on right now? Do you have, there must be some I'm a big caramel fan. And I say caramel because there is another A in it. It's not caramel. It drives me nuts when people say caramel.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to say caramel for the rest of the show.
Thank you. It's just a pet peeve of mine since it does have an A in it and no one in America pronounces it. But, since I'm British and I like to say things proper, I will say it caramel. Joking, people listening, I'm joking, not really. I love caramel. So... But for me, and I've worked in I haven't worked in a candy store before. I've worked in restaurants in the past, and you always kind of make something that's not on the menu that you want to eat.
Yes.
Do you have a special stuff that you're like, it's just for me and the girls, the employees at this place? Like we make, it's not for public consumption yet, maybe. But what's the experiment? What are you working on? Like what's deep down in the experiment, back in the kitchen? You're like, ooh, try this. Like, can you shed any light on that?
I'm going to tell you a secret.
God, another one. I wish I had a button here.
It's not going to be a secret anymore.
Yeah.
Whenever I decide to create something, the very first time I make it, it comes out. Seriously. The brownie batter. I didn't need to do a take two. The candied walnut brownie, didn't need to do a take two. The coconut pecan scotchy 2021 Good Food Award finalist, didn't need to do a take two. The only thing, and I'm saying this because they're really, when God sends it to me, I do it and boom. It doesn't take months and years to create it. It's like, I got it. This is what we're going to do. And it comes out. The only thing that I really changed is in the beginning, when I first started Good Girl Chocolate, all the chocolate was 75% dark. I didn't have the bars at this time.
Okay.
I just started with truffles because I truly wanted it to be that healthy chocolate company that offered dark chocolate, because that is the chocolate that you can actually say it's healthy when it's above 70% because it's over 70% cocoa. And then, true story, I was at the Grammys and Cardi B came to the table, my table. She says, I only eat milk chocolate. I just looked at her. I was like, well, I ain't got no milk chocolate. I have dark chocolate. But she tried it and she loved it. She really did like it. But I took that. That was a lesson learned for me. And it changed my business. This is the first time I'm saying that she really changed my business.
Yeah.
I've told that story about Cardi, and I've said, she's the reason why, I started trying out milk chocolates. She changed my business.
Yeah.
A month later, I had brownie batter. I had dark fudge with almonds, which is a milk chocolate as well. I started creating dairy-free milk chocolate. I started creating these chocolates because of her. Seriously, one milk chocolate.
What's she like in person?
So nice.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, seriously, she is a sweet person in person, and she really liked the chocolate.
She's hilarious.
This is good.
Yeah, there's so many good clips. I mean, and obviously I've never met her in person, but just some of the clips that are on, Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
The one that makes me laugh is the one she's in Milan. We're in Milan. She's got her glasses on. She's just like eating spaghetti. Just like, oh, it's so funny. Pretty sure. Yeah, just like I saw that the other day. I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of her music. I'm not really her type of fan, as you would imagine. My wife, on the other hand, loves her music. But yeah, that's so cool to have that experience, and then be in a position where you can go to the kitchen and try it, right?
Yes.
And experiment and do it that way, rather than say to your people who would have been making it for you, hey, try this. You have so much more control now. We
control everything, all the ingredients. Every single thing is under my control. I do get requests, though. People send me requests. I think one of the top requests is a mint bar.
Really?
Mint, yes. People are wanting mint.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I'm like, really?
Like those little thin, what are those things we have at Christmas or Thanksgiving? Those
they want a mint flavored chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that has been requested the most, I would say.
Have you ever tried, there was a chocolate bar in the UK called Aero, and it had the big thing was little bubbles inside. It was chocolate, but it was like little bubbles, right? And I'll send you a link to it. I'll show you after this. And they did a mint one, and it was fantastic. But it was called, I think it was Aero. I don't think unless they I'll look it up now. Aero chocolate, because they had Aero bubbles.
Oh.
So they basically they just kind of melt in your mouth. It's still chocolate, but like the bubbles was like the chocolate inside would melt in your mouth. The mint ones of those were so good.
Oh.
And they're probably in some UK store over here, or you can buy them on Amazon or whatever for $9 a bag, when back home they were like 50 cents a bag. But yeah, mint. I've never been a huge mint fan, but mint and chocolate go together really, really well.
Mint has grown on me.
Yeah.
I'm a tea drinker, and I love peppermint tea. Delish. And, like you said, those little thin mints, they've always been popular.
Yeah.
Growing up, they were popular. So I might, okay.
We'll see. TBD.
Try something, in mint. And then white chocolate. Yeah. I get a lot of white chocolate requests as well. Just white chocolate.
Yeah, my wife loves white chocolate buttons from the UK. Cadbury's does these little chocolate buttons, and they literally look like chocolate buttons, but the white ones.
She likes
that.
That
was what my dad brought over last week for my wife, was like 6 bags of white chocolate buttons.
Just sugar and butter.
Just sugar and butter.
No cocoa in it at all. No cocoa beans.
White chocolate. Exactly. Yeah.
It's good stuff, though.
It's dangerous stuff as well.
Let me tell you. But when I make it, it's gonna be good.
I know we kind of started talking out about this, and I want to kind of circle back and finish with kind of the point that's so important to you is that this is for people like yourself, like the struggles that you went through in losing weight and finding a diet and creating something sweet that you could eat. This is the whole reason for this, right? What is it now like being in a position where you are in, stores are in the region and going to be growing, and you're going around and you're meeting the people that you've made this stuff for? Like, let's finish with that. Tell me how that has been, and those stories from, women that you've met from, just like yourself.
I definitely want to preface and say that, and this goes back to my dad's comment, this tastes like the real thing. Yeah. I created it for women like me, but it's for everybody because it tastes that good. And who doesn't want, something cleaner to put in their bodies? True story. A couple months ago, before we left the mall, someone came in and he said, hey, I'm just buying some chocolate for a friend. She's vegan. I'm like, okay, well, you can get her anything in the store. Would you like to try some? He said, I'm not into vegan. It's like, well, don't think about it that way. Just think about a chocolate that just doesn't have dairy or soy or preservatives, just made from scratch. Think about that. He's like, okay, I'll try it. He loved it. He loved it. So one of the things that I definitely like to tell people is the chocolate is made. Everyone, it crosses over, because it tastes that good. And women will tell me all the time, they'll send me emails, they'll post the reviews. If you go to our website, you'll see over 800 5-star reviews. They're putting it on social media and they're thanking me. They're saying, thank you. Thank you for creating a chocolate that's actually good, that's gluten-free. Thank you for creating a chocolate that's good, that I can eat because I'm intolerant to dairy. I get it all the time. And as ladies, we love our chocolate. It was my duty. Someone had to do it.
Yeah, why not you?
Someone had to create this chocolate that checks all the boxes. And it checks those boxes because of all the diets I've been on. From raw to keto, which I do have a sugar-free plant-based bar as well. So if you're on the keto diet, you can eat my keto bar. And it's sweetened with xylitol. Every single diet I've been on, Good Girl chocolate falls into that. Paleo, because paleos, they don't eat processed sugars. They can eat the coconut sugar, but they can't eat processed sugar. So from paleo to vegan to gluten-free, can have my chocolate. It checks all of those boxes. And it was important that it checked those boxes and it still tasted good. Yeah. And it does. And I'm proud because I have a range. I still have that 70% dark, but I also have a brownie batter. That's milk.
Yeah.
So if you want a very small amount of sugar, you eat my 70. If you don't want sugar at all, you eat the sugar-free. If you want some sugar, you go to brownie batter. It has the coconut sugar, still not processed, table sugar, but you'll get that sweetness that you're wanting from that brownie batter or that candy walnut brownie. And then I have the semi-sweet, not too sweet, not too dark. You want right there in the middle, the milk, the dark milk. I have that one too. I have 7 chocolate bars. 7.
And more coming, I'm sure.
And more coming.
Yeah, a mint. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for sharing so many awesome stories. I cannot wait to do this again in another 5 years and see where you've gone.
Absolutely.
Or maybe 3 years or whenever it is. Whenever you would like to come back on the podcast, that you've made it so you've hit that 500 stores or whenever it is. We'd love to share that. So thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. It's been a blast. And everyone, go to goodgirlchocolate.com, Instagram, Good Girl Chocolate.
Okay. I will put those in the description down below so you can scroll down on the podcast on your phone and click it right now and go and get some caramel. You have caramel ones? You must have caramel ones.
Absolutely. And it is so
get some caramel.
Delicious. Yeah. And it's dairy free.
There we go. Ticking all the boxes.
That's good.
It's been a blast. Go to the links in the description and go buy yourself some chocolate and share it. Go buy yourself for a significant other as well. It's coming up to, there must be a birthday coming up in the family or Thanksgiving or Christmas. I mean, Halloween soon. So we're recording towards the end of September, and there's skeletons up in my neighborhood. It's just driving me nuts. Way too soon. But anyway, go to the link description. Thank you, Dr. Tabitha Carr, for coming in and sharing your amazing story. Ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you next episode. Cheers.
Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out at diffieford.net and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.